One major development going on now involves more to do with Rachel Zegler and her attitude towards South Park Studios and Paramount after learning about what they are planning for their upcoming special called the DEI Special.
You check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy.
Nothing has brought me greater joy than watching the Walt Disney Company absolutely panic over the last few weeks. They're mad at South Park because they're making fun of their woke ideologies, constantly race swapping or religion swapping everything in their movie.
The South Park creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, are no strangers to stirring the pot, and their upcoming DEI special is no exception. The special takes aim at the growing corporate obsession with diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives, specifically satirizing how entertainment giants like Disney are reshaping content around these principles. The episode parodies the trend of replacing traditional characters with diverse stand-ins who seem more focused on social commentary than storytelling. Among those targeted is Disney's Snow White remake, starring Rachel Zegler. When details of the episode leaked, social media exploded with reactions.
But then Kenny's like, it's not our fault, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. But then Kathleen Kennedy says like, make it more lame. And everyone in town is like, no, please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything. But Kathleen Kennedy has put another woman in it, make it more. And the Disney stuff just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stars?
Disney executives reportedly panicked, recognizing that the satire was striking uncomfortably close to reality. Zegler, who had already been criticized for her comments about the original Snow White, found herself at the center of the backlash once again. Her response would soon escalate from public frustration to full-blown legal action, marking a dramatic twist in this unfolding saga.
No, make it more lame. That is exactly what they're doing. And that is why we hate the diversity, equity, and inclusion casting and writing in movies.
In typical South Park fashion, the portrayal of Rachel Zegler wasn't subtle. In the DEI Special, an animated version of Zegler is shown aggressively championing feminist and empowerment slogans while wreaking havoc on a fictional studio's budget. Through a series of exaggerated scenes, including over-the-top musical numbers and absurd reimaginings of Snow White, the show satirizes Zegler's alleged influence over the creative direction of the Disney remake. Many viewers found it hilarious, praising the creators for daring to call out Hollywood's virtue signaling. But to Zegler, it was more than just a joke. The cartoon, she argued, painted her as a self-absorbed diva who single-handedly destroyed a beloved fairy tale. Instead of brushing it off, she saw the episode as a personal attack that went far beyond typical satire. For someone already under fire for her controversial takes, this new wave of mockery pushed her to take legal action.
Snow White is the first American feature-length animated movie, 1937. It's one of the most beloved movies of all time.
Will she rise or bow her head? Will she lead or just be led?
Even if everything worked perfectly, it would have been almost impossible for this movie to succeed because you're comparing it to one of the most beloved films of all time and a truly groundbreaking movie.
The situation quickly escalated when Rachel Zegler filed a defamation lawsuit against Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and South Park Studios, seeking a staggering $100 million in damages. Her legal team argued that the episode didn't just parody her, it misrepresented her so severely that it harmed her reputation and career. According to the lawsuit, several studios allegedly pulled casting offers in the wake of the episode, opting to distance themselves from the controversy. Zegler's lawyers insisted that the cartoon blurred the lines between parody and personal attack, falsely depicting her as a power-hungry celebrity who derailed a major studio project. This wasn't about satire anymore, they said. It was about accountability. For many, the lawsuit seemed like an overreaction, especially given South Park's long-standing reputation for mocking public figures. But others viewed it as a bold stand against what they saw as a toxic culture of animated bullying.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone initially reacted to the lawsuit with laughter, as they had faced legal threats before. But the sheer scale of this case, and the cultural moments surrounding it, made them pause. Unlike past controversies, this one wasn't about mocking religion or celebrities with thick skin. Rachel Zegler was a rising star in the middle of a PR nightmare, and now she was accusing them of ruining her career. The creator's first instinct was to fight back with humor. There were rumors of them working on another episode to parody the lawsuit, complete with puppet judges and a musical number titled "Sue Me Gently." But their legal team quickly shut it down, warning that any new content could be used against them in court. For once, the creators who built their empire on provocation decided to stay quiet, at least for the time being, marking a rare moment of restraint from the usually fearless duo.
You check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy.
While South Park remained silent, Rachel Zegler took to the media to share her side of the story. Appearing on late-night shows and in exclusive interviews, she spoke candidly about the emotional toll of being mocked so publicly. She described panic attacks, career setbacks, and a sense of betrayal from an industry she was only just beginning to navigate. Zegler made it clear that she wasn't trying to cancel satire, only that this particular portrayal crossed a line. Her vulnerability resonated with some who saw her as a young woman standing up for herself in a brutal industry. Others, however, weren't so sympathetic, accusing her of being too sensitive and feeding into the very culture of outrage South Park mocks. The internet split into camps, Team Rachel and Team South Park.
I'm sorry that the Snow White movie sucked, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry at all. That we forced, basically, as a company, Daily Wire forced Snow White into production again.
The battle wasn't just legal anymore, it was cultural, with fans, pundits, and creators weighing in on whether a joke can really ruin someone's career. When the case finally went to trial, it was more Hollywood than courtroom. Reporters flooded the courthouse, protesters and fans lined the streets. Inside, the mood shifted from entertainment gossip to serious legal debate. Rachel's lawyers presented clips of the DEI Special, arguing that younger viewers couldn't distinguish satire from reality, especially in an age where social media blurs those lines. They claimed South Park's episode was more than mockery. It was character assassination. On the other side, Trey and Matt testified that they aim for absurdity, not personal harm. They acknowledged chasing controversy, but denied any malicious intent. The courtroom drama highlighted the changing nature of media, how parody can be misconstrued as fact, and how public perception can be shaped by a single viral clip. As the jury deliberated, the question loomed: was this really about defamation, or about a clash between satire and a generation increasingly unwilling to be the punchline?
As an actor, you don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak about it to the public. You are simply just there to show up and say your lines and look the way they want you to look. That is our job. Be president one day. I hate that. I just want to be president. That screams Disney princess. Oh my God, I'm literally getting enraged. Once again, I feel like I'm back in 2022.
After 3 days of deliberation, the jury returned its verdict: not liable. The court acknowledged Rachel Zegler's emotional distress, but ultimately ruled that South Park's episode was protected under the First Amendment. Satire, even when cruel or exaggerated, is considered a form of free speech. The judge noted that no reasonable viewer could mistake a pastel kingdom and empowerment snack budgets as real portrayals of a person's life. While Rachel's experience was valid, the court ruled it wasn't defamation. Outside the courthouse, Rachel delivered a short, gracious statement, thanking supporters and affirming her commitment to respectful storytelling. Meanwhile, Trey and Matt broke their silence with just 6 words: "We're going back to work."
And this started with the movie star Rachel Zegler, who I believe would be categorized as a loudmouth dope.
The verdict didn't just end a lawsuit, it drew a line in the sand about the limits of satire. While Zegler may not have won the case, she had undeniably sparked a national conversation about how far parody can go. Despite the legal loss, Rachel Zegler's journey didn't end in defeat. She transitioned to smaller, grittier indie roles, determined to prove herself as more than just a Disney princess or viral punchline. Critics began to take note, praising her raw performances and reminding audiences that she could, indeed, act. The lawsuit, though unsuccessful, humanized her to some and reignited discussions about mental health, public shaming, and the high cost of fame. Rachel admitted in interviews that she had learned a lot from the ordeal, about the power of media, the fragility of reputation, and the need to grow thicker skin. While her Snow White chapter was now forever linked to a cartoon controversy, her career didn't end there. If anything, it took on a new trajectory. One defined not by glossy studio roles, but by resilience, self-awareness, and a refusal to be boxed in by either critics or caricatures. True to form, Trey and Matt didn't stay quiet forever. Once the dust settled, South Park returned with an episode that didn't mention Rachel Zegler by name, but left little doubt about the inspiration. The episode featured a fantasy world governed by enchanted lawyers and censorship goblins, poking fun at the absurdity of their legal drama. It opened with a sly message: "To anyone who's ever wanted to sue us, thanks for watching." The satire was sharp, but also self-reflective, acknowledging the fine line they walk with every controversial episode. More than just a victory lap, the episode served as a cultural mirror, inviting viewers to laugh, think, and question how society handles offense. Trey and Matt reminded the world that satire is about more than laughs. It's about truth-telling through exaggeration. And while they walked away legally unscathed, they emerged more aware of the shifting landscape they helped shape. This case wasn't just a clash between a celebrity and cartoonists. It became a defining moment in the broader culture war over comedy, free speech, and reputation. Rachel Zegler's lawsuit forced Hollywood and the public to grapple with big questions. When does satire become slander? Can parody damage careers in the digital age? And who gets to decide what's fair game? For some, the trial was a cautionary tale about the risks of unchecked humor. For others, it was a victory for artistic freedom. Regardless of the verdict, both Rachel and the South Park team walked away changed. She became a more seasoned, grounded actress. They became more mindful provocateurs. And for everyone watching, it was a reminder that in an era where every joke can go viral, the stakes for saying or animating the wrong thing have never been higher.